I'm Nathan Heim, I'm from Avon, Indiana, and I'm a senior pursuing a Bachelor of Musical Arts in Saxophone Performance. And today I will be covering reed break-in and reed storage. So the first step for breaking in your reeds is you're going to open up the fresh box of reeds, obviously, and you're going to take your reeds out. And they should come in a little plastic storage container like this. So what you're going to do, take your reeds out, and you're going to take a cup of water, fill it up, and you're going to want to soak your reeds in the water for about 15 to 30 minutes or so. This just helps moisturize the reeds and get the break-in process started. So once you've had your reeds soaked, you're going to take them out, you're going to dry them off. I like to either set them on a paper towel to let them air dry for a bit, or I'll just take a paper towel and I'll just wipe them off to get the moisture off on my own. And so once you've got the reeds all dried, they're ready to be played on for your first day. So on the first day, you're going to want to start out, play your reeds for a maximum of about 15 minutes at a time. And you're going to want to limit the extremities to how much you play. And so you're going to want to play them at probably a mezzo forte, mezzo piano dynamic, and play around the middle of the horn just so that you're not overworking the reeds to start out with. And so typically a break-in process lasts about 10 to 14 days. And so as this time period goes on, you're going to want to play on your reeds every day throughout the period and start playing on gradually more and more each day. And you're also going to want to increase the dynamic and octave ranges that you're playing the reeds at. So ultimately by the end of the break-in period, around day 10 or maybe at the end of the 2 weeks, you're going to be able to play on your reeds for an hour or more at a time and play on them at whatever dynamic range and whatever tessitura you want to play them at. So then the question is, once you've gotten your reeds broken in and during the break-in period, how do you store your reeds properly? So the first and probably worst option is just to keep them in the plastic containers they come in. It's all right. It keeps them mostly flat, but you'll notice if you keep them in there long enough, the tip of the reeds start to warp a little bit. They don't stay flat on the edges. And it also doesn't regulate the humidity of the reeds, which is something important that you need to keep track of. So the next best choice is to just simply take a Ziploc bag, keep your reeds in the containers, throw them in there, and then toss a humidity pack in there as well with them. And so what the humidity packs do is they regulate the humidity of the reeds, and so that way they're not open to the environmental humidity that you have your case at, and make sure that they stay consistently fresh when you pull them out to play. And then the best and probably the easiest of the best options that I like to use is I'll take a reed container. I use the D'Addario one. It can store about 8 reeds, and it's got a spot for a humidity pack inside of the case. And so what this does is it's got rubber bands here that hold the reeds flatter up against the surface, and so it helps prevent warping a little bit easier. And then it holds the humidity pack in here as well, so you don't have to worry about tossing it in with the bag. And then what I'll do on top of that is I will put this inside of a Ziploc bag just to help further regulate the humidity, make sure that my reeds really are staying as consistent as possible. And so the question now is, what do the humidity packs do? So there are different percentages. So typically for reeds, you're going to want to maintain anywhere between about 60 to 75% humidity, the most common being 72. The higher end, towards the end of the range that you go, the shorter that the reeds are going to last, but they'll be ready to play a little bit quicker. The lower end of the range, it'll take a little bit longer to get them warmed up when you're playing, but it'll hold the reeds for a little bit longer. So I like to use around the 60% humidity pack, but 72% is a really good option for players as well. And so once you've got your reeds stored and you've got your storage process set up, you should have your reeds ready to go to last for a long time. So a couple of bonus tips that I like to use. When you take your reeds out, something I will do is I'll take my reed, and on the back of the reed, I will write the date with a pen or a Sharpie. Or if I'm using an entire case for a batch of reeds, I'll just take a piece of tape and I'll write the date somewhere over here. And so that way I know when the reeds were broken in, and so that way I can manage when the reeds are probably about good to be cycled out for new reeds. And so, yeah, once you follow all those tips, you should be all good to go with your reeds.